Hey folks, tonight's episode of Live from My Mother's Basement is brought to you by Diablo Moon. They have the greatest culinary craftware. One of my favorites is the pizza cutter. Check them out at diablomoon.shop.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another edition of Live from My Mother's Basement. For the first time in many months, I'm actually broadcasting from my place in North Hollywood, California. And normally, of course, I was in my basement, in my home, in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. And right now, I just got off two ships, cruise ships, that were touring both sides of the Caribbean. And now I'm in Los Angeles. I got some things to do tomorrow. Hopefully they all pan out. And then tomorrow night, I'm getting on another cruise ship, which is the Princess Grand out of Long Beach, California. So really all I need to do is drive to Long Beach tomorrow afternoon, jump on a cruise ship, head to San Diego, head to Cabo St. Lucas, and then back to Los Angeles. So tonight, since I just got off a ship yesterday and then flew into California today, I decided I'm going to be safe and I'm not going to have any guests on the show. However, I got my results from my COVID test so that I could get on the ship tomorrow, and once again, I'm negative. Folks, getting a test is easy. If you have to get a test for your job, as far as I'm concerned, shut up, get the test. All you got to do is go into a CVS. You don't even have to get out of the car. You pull up to the drive-through like you're going to put money in the bank or take money out of the bank. You do it yourself. You can have a conversation with the person working in the window. I think it's hilarious. I went and got it in Florida because I was in Florida the other day. I got off the ship on a Sunday. I went and got my COVID test on a Monday so that I could be prepared to get on the ship and be COVID safe tomorrow. 48 hours. It's a piece of cake, and before you know it, you get the test results in your email. So I just got my email a little while ago. I wasn't worried that I wasn't going to get it. I've done it so many times, I know when it's going to come. It really does happen within 24 hours. So if you go early in the morning, wherever you need to go to be tested, normally I've been going to Quest Diagnostics, but this time I went to a CVS. If I can make an appointment on a ship in the middle of an ocean to get a COVID test in another state that I'm not even from, anybody can do it. So I went, I got the COVID test. Now, when I pull up to the drive-thru window, I'm a comedian. I have to say something funny. So when the girl puts the, a person, but this happened to be a girl, she puts the test in the window bucket or whatever it is, and it comes out. I took it and I swabbed my nose and I swabbed the other nose, but I looked at her as if to say, is this long enough? Is this long? Is this long enough? And then I put it in a thing, and I had to say to her, did anybody ever pull out a snot? I mean, come on. That has to happen to somebody. So you put this thing right back in the little cylinder, the little tube, and I don't know, I feel like I'm proud of myself, like I'm contributing, I'm doing my part to keep everybody safe. It's so easy, and it goes by so fast. There was no line, no waiting. I was early, and then they tell you not to come in. So you wear your mask, you bring your driver's license, you bring your proof of insurance, and you have your appointment number. Piece of cake. And as soon as you put it in the box, I mean, you don't even really need anybody working there, quite honestly. And I put it in the box, and you drive away. Then you get a notice saying, can you tell us how we did? So you know you're registered, and you tell them, hey, everything was great. Bam. I just got my results. I'm going to print my results. However, my results are in my phone because I have a CVS app. I have a Quest Diagnostics app. I have Royal Caribbean app. I have Princess Grand app. So tomorrow, when I get to the cruise ship, passport, proof of vaccination. I got both vaccinations, and I'm getting ready to go get my third. I'm going to bump it up because I don't want to hear no shit. All right? I did it. I'm fine. In fact, in the news today, it said 1 year ago they started the vaccinations. It's a year. It's a year anniversary of the vaccinations, which of course sucks that we have to go through it. But hey, I was just on a cruise ship for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Everybody wore a mask. If they went outside, they could take the mask off. If they came into a showroom, they kept the mask on. But if they were vaccinated, they could take it off. No one got sick, no one got hurt, and nobody missed out on a good time. We did it. So I'm fine, I'm cool, I'm just saying you can do it. I have all my paperwork. Tomorrow, I'm getting on a ship, and I'm going back out to the ocean, and I'm making the money that I need to make, especially since we need to make up for lost time. So, tonight's show is sponsored by Diablo Moon. I love this shirt. They have lots of great shirts. You get them at diablomoon.shop. I'm going to talk about it a little later in the show. But Diablo Moon is my title sponsor for tonight's show. Culinary craftware. And you can also look up Diablo Moon at diablomoon.shop. I'm wearing one of the shirts. Like I said, they got these really great shirts. I really like the long sleeve ones. And they come with matching hats and a bunch of different colors. You can get it too. Believe it or not, I kind of wish I had one of the long sleeve Diablo Moon sweatshirts on right now because it's cold in California. I just left the Caribbean. It's 40 degrees outside. It's raining. And they're saying they're having a storm up in Big Bear. And they have so much snow that they actually can't go skiing. That's how big the storm is. Now, I've never gone snow skiing in California. I grew up snow skiing in Camelback. If anybody remembers that in New Jersey, when everybody used to get in one car, pitch in $2 of gas, and drive all the way up to Camelback and hope that you didn't get killed because the snow was really icy and nobody really snowboarded, and you had to rent snow skis. If you think about it, not only did you rent skis, snow skis, you rented the boots. You put your foot in a boot that had feet in it from so many different people. And you know what? We didn't have COVID vaccine then. So you think about it, it's pretty crazy. But anyway, so Big Bear's got some big snow right now because it's raining around here in California. And, you want to talk about a storm, what's going on in Kentucky. So let's just shout out a nice big prayer to everybody that's having family members in that disaster out in Kentucky. I know what it's like to be in a disaster. I've been in a few disasters in my life in New Jersey. Nothing's ever going to stop the memory of when we got hit by Superstorm Sandy. Just devastated the Jersey Shore. My two brothers have houses on the Jersey Shore, and all my friends live down on the Jersey Shore. Talk about unburying people from water. And everybody has basements, and everybody had a flood in their basement. And then, of course, there was Manahawkin and Long Beach Island. And these places down on the Jersey Shore are peninsulas, and they're tiny little islands with water on either side. So when the storm hit, it wiped out the town like that. Boom. Shred. Gone. But believe it or not, they made a strong comeback, and now you can't touch those properties for less than millions of dollars. They built everything up, 20 feet in the air on these big, big stilts. So at least something great came from that storm. So there's a little storm here in California. It's raining, it's cold, it's 40 degrees. I'm back in my place. I have the heat on. So let's chat amongst ourselves, and we'll see what's going on in the world today. Like I said, I am always trying to do the right thing when it comes to social distancing so that I'm not responsible for getting ill or getting anyone ill, especially with this COVID bullshit. In fact, I didn't even know that COVID was hitting this hard in California. I haven't been here in quite some time. I was watching the news tonight. I try to watch the news so I could bring up some current events while I'm talking. I don't have a guest on the show. I don't have any food. So I want to see what's going on in the world. They're saying they're having more cases of COVID here in California than they had in quite some time. And I forgot what basketball team they were just saying is going to not play because so many of their athletes got COVID-19. Now, of course, they don't have major symptoms, they're saying, and they're not really, really sick. However, they got it, so then they can't play. So if your star athletes on your team can't play, what do? Put in the second, third string? Or do you call it a day? Speaking of basketball, I mean, I know he didn't have anything to do with basketball, but I saw in the news tonight that O.J. Simpson's free. Now, I thought he was free. I don't remember him still being in jail, but they just said that on the news tonight, that he is free. There must be something else going on. I didn't get to see the whole thing. I haven't slept in 24 hours. And I was in, like I said, I was in the Caribbean for 2 weeks. I went to Florida to do 2 shows. Flew to California today via Houston, Texas, and I am exhausted. So after I do my little podcast tonight, I'm going to bed. I got to get up early tomorrow morning. I'm having my follow-up visit to my cancer scare on my nose. Hope it's looking okay. And then I'm going down to Long Beach and I'm going to jump on the ship. My friend Mark picked me up at the airport. And I was asking him about how have you been? Haven't seen you in a long time. What's going on in your world? Your family members, the people. We all seem to experience the same shit. And I've been saying for a long time, I don't know why people promise us things and don't deliver. I would rather somebody say, I wish I could, but I can't. There's just too many people. Hey, you know what we're going to do? Even, you know you're not going to get together with people all the time. You can't. People are too busy. But we always say, hey, we should get together for lunch. That's heartfelt. Most people mean that. You just kind of can't. Everybody has a busy life. I went to my high school reunion and I told everybody we should hang out. We should hang out. We can't. Nobody lives in the same neighborhood anymore. People have moved on to different places. Their life is completely different. I wish we could, but we say things like, why don't we? Why don't we? We should. We should. We should do this more often. You can't. But what about people who promise you a job? What about people who promise you a payday? What about people who owe you money and say, we're going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. It's shit. It's bullshit. Tell the truth. Say, hey, listen, man, I really wish I could pay you back, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I shouldn't have borrowed money from you. Something like that. I know I was going to produce your TV series. I said I wanted to, but I don't have the means to do it. Wouldn't that be more fun? Would anybody even have the balls to say that to someone? I do. I say it all the time. Boy, I really wish I could, but I can't. And if I say I'm going to do something, I try my best because I said it because I really do want to do it. Everybody else is a fucking doo-doo-doo. That might be a New York thing, but that's what I see in that, if you're following my drift. When I went to Florida off the cruise ship, I went and saw a friend, which was great. I haven't seen him in a long time. He moved from California to Florida, hung out, had some breakfast. Nice. From there, I was part of the Dick Capri roast. Dick Capri was a famous comedian back in the Borscht Belt days. If you guys even remember what that means. The Borscht Belt was the Catskills. The Catskills is upstate New York. There's still one hotel standing to this day from the 1940s. It's called Villa Roma. And I play Villa Roma every year. And the hotel looks like something out of The Shining. It's really, really old and scary looking. But it has the medieval times look to it. Something that of maybe you would see Roman Empire. It's supposed to look like the Roman Empire. So it's very Italian-esque. I'm sure there's ghosts up there. But anyway, Dick Capri was one of those guys. And he performed up there with all these other guys that were on the dais Sunday night. Now, you might not be familiar with all these cats because you would be familiar with guys like the Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, singers like that, Sammy Davis Jr. And you might be you might have knowledge of older comedians like Shecky Green or Lenny Bruce. But these were other comedians, mostly Jewish and Italian, and they played up in the Borscht Belt, which was the Catskills. And Dick Capri turned 90 years old, and it was a lot of fun, a wonderful experience for a younger comedian, although I'm not that young. I would just assume a lot of younger comedians, younger than me, wouldn't even know who they were. But I was happy to be part of that. Some of these guys actually did open for Frank Sinatra and big name singers because they were talking about it. He talked about how he opened for Engelbert Humperdinck. He opened for Elvis Presley, and so on and so forth. So it was really great to be a part of that, and that was at the Raz Room in Boca Raton, which I just got done doing a show with my cousin's son, Peter Lemongello Jr., who is the son of Peter Lemongello. And that's my actual cousin in real life, who back in the 70s was the first singer to create an infomercial before there was a such thing as credit cards, and you could only buy that album by sending cash on delivery. Remember COD? Money order. You had to pay by money order. So it's an incredible history. If you guys do some research and you want to Google Dick Capri. I can't think of the other guys that were on the dais, but they were doing jokes from back in the day. And then luckily I got to go on stage and have some fun and do what I do. And then now here I am back in California hanging out with you guys. It's really cold outside. So we're going to talk a little bit. And I'm going to take some questions as to what's going on in my career. The movie that I did do called Four Cousins and a Christmas is out on Vizio and iTunes. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about, of course, my sponsors and stuff like that. And I wanted to talk about, I am going to go get this looked at tomorrow and make sure that it's okay. He also had one on my leg. Now, you get older, you're not supposed to go in the sun. I worship going to the beach. I grew up surfing and water skiing. I'm hoping I'm going to get to do this big documentary on my life on the Jersey Shore with my brothers and my friends, the real Jersey Shore. But it caught up to me, so I had these cancer cells removed, and I'm going to go check it out tomorrow, make sure everything is okay. So thank you everybody who's writing into the show right now. I'm glad you can all hear me. Some really cool people saying hello right now. So here we go. We were talking about the skin. I was sticking my hand in a toiletry bag when I was traveling, and one of my razors that I shaved was open and had the plastic cap off. I stuck my finger in there and I cut the end of my finger. I've been wearing a Band-Aid for 3 days. The littlest cut was so painful, it ain't even funny. So I'm sure when I go see my skin doctor tomorrow, he's going to say, what'd you do to your finger? And your nose looks okay. And I really hope you don't find any more what they call basal cells, which is cancer, and they remove it from my fucking skin, because I don't want to hear that no more. I do my podcast in person. And right now, one of my favorite actors is saying hello to me on Instagram. So I'm going to acknowledge this right now. I'm on 2 cameras right now. One's here on Facebook. This is my fan page on Facebook. And this is my Instagram. So I'm looking at my Instagram right now. Frank Severo, who I'm dying to have sit on the show with me. And it's going to happen when I come to Vegas, because Frank Severo lives out in Las Vegas. Frank Severo has the ultimate role in one of the world's most famous, most talked about movie of all time, but not one, fucking two of the most popular movies of all time, Frank Zaviro is in. I should be doing this when you're on the show, Frank, and I will too. We have a little bit of a history here, more than just in the acting world, but Frank Zaviro plays Carbone in the movie Goodfellas, and he's also in Godfather Part 2, one of the most famous, memorable scenes when Robert De Niro sits in the theater and Frank Zaviro is sitting there and they're watching the girl in the play, and the Black Hand stands up and he waves and he says, "Who's that?" He says, "The Black Hand." So Frank Zaviro is in The Godfather and Goodfellas, and he's friends with all those guys, and he's a wonderful, wonderful Italian fella from back east. So thank you so much for being a friend. Frank, you're the best. I love you, and keep doing what you're doing. You are a badass, man. How much fun would it have been to be in the movie Goodfellas, and he comes swinging around the kitchen with the fucking, what we call a maginette. It's a maginette, and he goes, "Hey, you better make that coffee to go." I go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." It's a joke. It's a joke. And then you see him all frozen in the meat freezer later on in the movie. So what a classic. It's a badass thing. And I'm going to have Frank come on my show. We talked about it the other day. Thank you so much, Frank Zaviro. I've had some of your fellow actors on the show as well. In fact, I think I've had 6 different people who were in Goodfellas on my show, and they're all friends with each other. I'm hoping that they're all still friends today. I mean, I know Johnny Roast Beef, Johnny Williams, for many, many years, and we all know some of the same people because I think it was about 20 years ago, a lot of Italian kids from New York and New Jersey got together and we created the Feast of San Gennaro in Los Angeles. Not only did we create the Feast of San Gennaro, we created the Sons of Italy, and it was at a time where these things did not take place in California. Unfortunately, once again, they don't. I don't know what that's all about, but they don't even celebrate Columbus Day here anymore. It's now Indigenous Peoples Day, which is fine. But I don't know why they can't just have Columbus Day on a Monday, Indigenous Peoples Day on a Tuesday. Why not have 2 parties? It's a party. Have the fucking party and shut up. Now there's nothing. There's no parade. There's no food. There's no raising money for children. There's no charities. I don't understand why people don't understand. You didn't just get rid of what you thought was bad. You got rid of tons of great shit. When we started the Feast of San Gennaro, we were raising millions for kids. And who's more into the Catholic Church than the Italians? Mexicans. I mean, come on. The Asians. We were all coming from the same church. Don't get me started. We were all coming from the same Catholic Church. It was raising money for the same place. Now there's nothing. No parade, no pizza. Stupid. I really should run the country. I should run the country. I would say flat out, listen, guys, stop getting rid of what you think is a good idea. Ask a little bit. Because I've never hurt anybody. And I raised all this money with all my friends for people we never met. And that's because we were Italian? I'm going like this with my arms a lot. I got a new watch. $50. I got it on the ship. I got an employee discount. It's a shock watch. Right? Yes, Johnny Roast Beef. Johnny Roast Beef Williams, very good friend of mine, lives out here in California. In fact, if everything goes right, next Tuesday night, December 21, I'm the opening act for Robert Davi, who's a friend of all of ours as well. Robert Davi's been in lots of movies. He's also the star of the movie that I have a small role in called Four Cousins and a Funeral. Four Cousins and a Christmas. Four Cousins and a Christmas. It's a happy-go-lucky Christmas story. It's out now on Vizio and iTunes. Look it up on the internet. I'll see if I can't post it later. The producer, Maria Cap, actually sent me a clip of me, Terry Polo, and Nick Totoro in this movie. And I will be putting that up on the internet for you guys to take a look at my work as a serious actor, scolding my daughter for doing something she shouldn't have did in the movie. And it's pretty cool. And if you know, of course, Nick Totoro from many different TV shows, many different movies, he's in it with me, or I'm in it with him. And Terry Polo, who plays the wife in all the Meet the Fokker movies, and she's been in a lot of different movies, a lot of different TV shows. She plays my wife. And I got that scene, so I'm going to send it out to everybody. Of course, I'm going to have my social media manager and producer of this show, Tatiana, make that happen, because I don't know how to do any of that, but she does, and she does it really, really well. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, listen, we had a little bit of a problem. I want to say it's like 5 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, I got an alert from a friend that there is a impersonator on Instagram, and it's comedian Mike Marino. Well, my Instagram is Mike Marino Live, which means that's a fictitious site. Comedian Mike Marino is not me. Mike Marino Live. You see the verification, you see the little blue light. But then there was another one, Mike Marino Fans, and then there was Funny Mike Marino and whatever. So there was like 4 or 5 fictitious accounts. They're not me. This is me, Mike Marino Live, on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok now, Facebook, Patreon, you name it. Everything is Mike Marino Live. And thank you, Anthony Rena, for saying Tatiana is great, because she is, and she keeps me in check too, because sometimes a guy like me will see all this fan mail, and I thank you all for the fan mail, but I want to respond to everybody, but we get fictitious fan mail, and I don't know who's who. So you got to be careful, because someone could say, hello, I think you're great. You write back, I think you're great. And before you know it, they got your bank account. So that really, really sucks that has to happen in this world. So, folks, this is me. This is the real Mike Marino. I do the podcast every Tuesday night at 5 o'clock here in California, or 8 o'clock on the East Coast. You know that I do the morning walk every morning between 8 and 9 o'clock, wherever I am in the world. I was doing it on the ships. I wanted people to see where I'm going, what I'm doing, how you can go. In fact, when you do subscribe to my channels, please leave a comment. There's a little bell up there. You can leave a comment. You could say something. You could like. You could follow. Any of the above, so that I see it and I know that we're doing the right thing and you guys are actually happy with the content that I put out there. So I appreciate that. And moving forward, that would be really, really great. So thank you for listening, and thank you for understanding. And I'm going to let you guys know where I'm performing, because the world seems to be opening up just a little bit. I don't know what's going on here in California. It was really scary to see all this news about all the people who are getting COVID out here. And I do know some people that got a vaccination. They got a COVID too. So, wear the mask. In fact, I just ordered more masks. So if you go to MikeMarino.net, pick up some masks for Christmas. You could pick up my shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, sweatpants, and the underwear. Everything is on sale. Pick up your Christmas swag, and I'll make sure I get it to you. In fact, why don't we talk about our sponsor right now that I'm actually mentioning what you can do for your employees, what you can do for your family members, or anybody through my sponsor, Diablo Moons. I'm going to read off the paper because some of the items I don't have with me. I actually took my favorite item on the cruise ship. And I hope Diablo Moon is watching right now. Hope Jim is watching. Jim Mooney, one of my characters named Mooney, but this is Jim Mooney, works for Diablo Moon, created and owns Diablo Moon. I took the pizza pie cutter on the cruise ship. Not only did it take the pizza pie cutter, but I took the wine bottle sleeve, which keeps it warm or cold. It's a sleeve. And they took the pizza pie cutter from me because when I was coming through an area, someone said, "What's with the knife?" And I said, "It's not a knife. It's a pizza pie cutter, and it's a prop for my show." And they said, "No, it's not." I said, "Yes, it is. It's a prop. Let me show you how I cut pizza." And he said, "We have to take it from you. We'll give it back to you when the cruise is over." And they didn't give it back to me. So if you go to diablomoon.shop, you could pick yourself up a pizza cutter, a pizza pie cutter. That's the way we say it in Jersey. Not a pizza cutter, pizza pie, or a pizza pie cutter. And there's a lot of different culinary craftware there. They let you bring a pizza cutter when you were traveling. Well, it was in my bags. I had it under my bags. Went under the plane. When I got on the ship, I took it out. And I took it out and I was showing people because I was talking about it on the show. Diablo Moon brings you the ultimate lifestyle culinary craftware, cutting boards, wine accessories, and apparel for you to live your best life. Just add wine. Makes great gifts for the holidays. I said that. And now they have candles. So introducing the Diablo Moon Signature Scent Candle. I actually had the candle on the ship too. Oh my God. I lit the candle in my room. Okay, I didn't know. Little smoke alarm, little trouble again. They didn't take the candle from me, but I wouldn't let me light it anymore. So I had my Diablo Moon candle. Introducing the Diablo Moon Signature Scent Candle with notes of cedar and balsam fir. Diablo Moon cutting boards are beautiful, durable, and coated with a food-safe blend of organic beeswax and mineral oil. The candles do smell fantastic. It's a nice, thick, big-sized candle. The cutting boards are really cool. I don't have a cutting board with me, but the cutting board is big and it has a handle, so you can crack somebody in the head with it. And you can enjoy your favorite wine in their deep-edged Bordeaux-style wine glasses. Of course, I couldn't travel with the wine glasses either, but I do have them in my house in New Jersey. So you can check out all of this incredible stuff. Guys, please go to diablomoon.shop. Take a look around. And even if you don't buy nothing, follow them on Instagram and follow them on Facebook. Say hello to Jim for me and take a look at what he's got going on. This Thanksgiving, I had a couple of charcuteries made, and I put them on top of Diablo Moon cutting boards, and it looked dynamite on the table, and so we made everybody happy, and I think that would make you happy as well. So Diablo Moon. Now, who's got some questions? The movie I want you guys to check out, Four Cousins and a Christmas. Look it up on the internet. They also have an Instagram account, Four Cousins and a Christmas. It'll tell you where to go see that movie, and you'll watch me, and you'll have a good time. If you're in California, next Tuesday night at 7:30, I'm going on stage at Vibratos in Beverly Hills. It's actually Bel Air. Vibratos is a famous jazz and blues club. It's owned by Herb Alpert from the Tijuana Brass. You all know Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. His two daughters run the place. It is absolutely exquisite. And if everything goes right, I caught wind that Leonardo DiCaprio is supposed to come to the show on Tuesday night. This I got to see through some connections and people, not for me, but because of a project that they all did called King of Cool, which is a documentary on Dean Martin, put out by his daughter, Dina Martin, and her husband, John Griffith. And I know these people personally because we all work together. And I found out through a friend that Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the producers on this project. So you might want to take a look at what they're doing. All right? And then the last show that I'm going to do for the year is New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve at Catch a Rising Star in Princeton, New Jersey. Not in the club, in the ballroom. So it's a gala. You're going to get a band, you're going to get a DJ, you're going to get a comedian, you're going to get great food, and you can sleep over in the hotel. I'm sleeping over in the hotel, and when I wake up in the morning, they have a great breakfast buffet, and I'm going to it, and I'll hang around with everybody that day, sign some autographs, make sure we do what's right with the COVID test, and away we go. Then we start 2022 with one of the biggest tours I've ever done. It's going to be out of control. The amount of shows is going to be listed at MikeMarino.net, starting with Jersey Boys, a brand new tour with two Italian comedians from New Jersey, Joe Gorga from the Jersey Housewives, and yours truly. All right, let's take some questions and see what's what. Right now, I'm on my Facebook, so if anybody wants to say hello, you got a question, I'll even answer the ones on Instagram as well, because I'm down here and I can see them both. OJ has completed his parole, so that's what they were saying for tonight. And I was just told that by one of my favorite comedians, Retha Jones, who I got to perform with for many years at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. Thank you so much, Retha Jones. And my friend Darlene Corporali. I'll wave to you as you hop on the ship in Long Beach. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Darlene. I miss you, and I miss going over to the Ha Ha. I miss going over to the Laugh Factory. These are famous clubs here in California that had to take a bit of a beating because of COVID-19. Sandra Quackenbush, hello, how are you? Carlo Valerio, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, my friend. Freddie Roman, okay, there you go. Carlo Valerio, who has a talk show on Animal House Radio in New Jersey, just said Freddie Roman. Freddie Roman was another comedian who was on the dais with me Sunday night in Florida. In fact, he came up to me and said, "You had the most incredible comedy timing I've ever seen in quite some time." It's an unbelievable comment and compliment for someone to say a comedian has incredible timing, because timing is really hard to get in the comedy world. You can write the best joke, but if you can't deliver it, you're dead. Peter was a hottie too, so says Darlene Corporali about my cousin Peter Lemongello. Bill Hayes also mentions the word Freddie Roman, and Charlene Corvino. Charlene Corvino, who lives in Las Vegas, but I think I saw that you're moving to Florida, which is really great. Hey, Chooch, do you work on the Freedom of the Seas? She asked the question, do I work on Freedom of the Seas? And yes, I do. And Retha Jones is praying for me. Thank you so much. Call your documentary, get the bat. One of my original catchphrases back in the day of performing at the world famous Comedy Store. You know, just to mention the Comedy Store, whoever's watching right now, the Comedy Store in Los Angeles really is a college for comedians. And comedians from around the globe will do anything to get into that club to perform there, and if nothing else, to train there. Retha Jones and I did, and along with thousands of others. So it's kind of sad that we really don't play there anymore, but it's kind of like you graduated college, you really can't go back there too much because you got to go out and earn a living. And most of the people that we knew at the time are no longer with us, including the owner of the Comedy Store, the legendary Mitzi Shore, who was the one that made Retha Jones a regular. She made me a regular, and she was married to Sammy Shore, and they are the parents of Paulie Shore, and they're both deceased. Not Paulie, but the father and the mother. So it's kind of sad, sweet sorrow, how all these things are changing in the world, but that's the real history there, and I'm happy to say that I was actually part of all of that in the 90s. Lynn Marie, how are you? Watching from Niagara Falls, New York. Marino 2024. Thank you so much for saying that. The Real Drunk Housewives of Australia. Good day, guys, she says. She's out in Australia. I love Australians. Sharon Pfeiffer says, nice shirt. Thank you so much, Sharon. Sharon was on stage with me about a month and a half ago when we performed over at the Raz Room in Boca Raton along with Peter Lemongello Jr. Jennifer Foley, who I went to junior high with, she's a twin. These were the girls that were so good looking back in the day. Haven't seen her in so many years. Jennifer, we had a high school reunion. 41 years out of high school, about the night after Thanksgiving, the afternoon after Thanksgiving, and it was just really, really wonderful. There was only about maybe 50 people there, but it was so cool to see these people who flew in and stayed around to see it. Jill Pepitone does makeup in New York. Jill, I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm coming back to New Jersey. You need to come and see where I'm going, what I'm doing. Now, here comes a legendary comedian saying hello right now. Everybody, go to my Facebook, please, and say hello to Tom Dreesen. This is the man who opened for Frank Sinatra more than any other comedian in the history of comedians who worked with Frank Sinatra. He was on The Tonight Show more than any other comedian was on The Tonight Show. This is a legend. This is the type of guy who would be on the dais, who's been on the dais, and who actually needs a roast himself, and I'd be honored to be part of that. Tom, I miss you. I love you. Tom Dreesen. In fact, Tom, you need to come on my podcast and hang out in my house. I would be so thrilled. That would be just unbelievable. Tom Dreesen, he's got just an unbelievable pedigree of stories from back in the day till just now, still being a comedian all these years later, earning a great living. His words to live by are fantastic. We talk all the time because, sometimes enough is never enough in the entertainer's world. You can have a certain amount of fame on Monday, and you don't have that amount of fame on Friday, and it does things to us. So we have to enjoy every day that we get to do what we do and be part of this, like this is right now, and be close to some fellow comedians who keep us comedians from going into dark places and think that we're not appreciated and that maybe we're not good at what we do and should just quit this business. It's very, very tough on the mind. Last week I did 6 shows and every show was fantastic, but on the 7th show somebody said they didn't like my work, and that was the only show I could remember. And that's what sucks about being an entertainer. We are not cars. We are not tables and chairs. If you say to a car you don't like the car don't hear you. But if you say to a comedian, I don't like your comedy, I heard you. And it's going to do some damage. So don't make me go smoke that much weed, if you know what I'm talking about. So, and I know Retha Jones, she knows this too. Tom Dreesen's a classy, funny comedian. Yes, he is. Steve Eskow, it's nice to see you. I'll gladly do your podcast, says Tom Dreesen. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We go all the way back to what I originally said. When people say they're going to do something, then they don't. But I know Tom Dreesen just said that he would, and I know he would because I know him very, very well. One of the greatest nights I've had with Tom, because we've been on stage many times together. People, please look up Tom Dreesen. Please look up all the comedians that I'm telling you about. These are legendary comedians who broke big ground. Don't forget, these are comedians who were doing things at a time where maybe the audience wasn't ready to hear certain things. Like the legendary comedian Lenny Bruce, who got arrested for doing dirty material. And Tom was also part of what was going on in the Comedy Store back in the 70s when it originally started. And, to have him come on the show and tell you those stories would be the way to do it. So I'm not even going to make it. I'm not even going to try to attempt it. You guys go ahead and keep on watching the show. When I have Tom on the show, we'll talk about it that way. But Dean Martin's daughter, had started the celebrity roast like her father. And we did one for Joe Mantegna. This was at the South Point Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. I would say it was like 3 years ago. And we all got to take cheap shots at Joe Mantegna. And just to see Tom Dreesen sitting there, probably writing for the other celebrities that were on the dais, just looking at me as if to say, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, do what you do. And I was so happy and proud to be a part of that. So that was really, really badass. Let me read some more comments and then I got to go. I am exhausted. We all love you, Mike. You are hysterical, says Darlene Corporali, and I thank you so much. Jill, oh my God, yes, you need to be coming to one of my shows. On my Instagram feed right now, The Art of the Drum, The Real Super Joe, Hot Beef Podcast. You guys sound fantastic. Philip Montano, Mike, you're historical. I still laugh. Oh, hysterical. Historical. I think you wrote historical. I still laugh at the bit you did about the Italian guy coming to whack Osama bin Laden. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And Retha Jones acknowledges Tom Dreesen, which is really, really wonderful. And I will always acknowledge and love Retha Jones. If I can only tell you, and I know Retha, if you're watching, you're still watching, what it was like to be younger, starry-eyed, and wondering what's going to come from this stage that they call the Comedy Store. What's going to happen? You start in the little room and then you go to the original room, and then you go to the main room, and then you go out on tour, and then you come back, and then you try jokes, and then you work on a joke, then you get rid of a joke, and then you see legends perform, and then you don't see the legends, and then you become a legend. It's just an unbelievable. That's why they do so many documentaries on the Comedy Store. But it's just, I don't know. I guess it's like if you went to Rutgers and everybody was just becoming a lawyer, and there were thousands and thousands of lawyers. Well, this is a school for clowns, quite honestly. And where do you go from that? I remember we would sit in the back of the room and watch Andrew Dice Clay for hours. You would watch Eddie Griffin, and sometimes you'd see some megastars show up. And now, of course, one of the biggest names coming out of the Comedy Store is Joe Rogan, who has one of the most successful podcasts, if not the most successful podcast. We used to see him in the parking lot when he was just like everybody else, trying to make $15 in 10 minutes. So it's wonderful to see that. And then you have other friends that went on to become big stars too. Like we used to see Sebastian Maniscalco. We always did a show at the Comedy Store called The Night of a Thousand Guidos. And it was Dom Irrera, Tom Dreesen, and Sebastian Maniscalco, Mike Ricca, Tammy Pascatelli, Luca Palenka, Wheels Parisi, all these Italian comedians from different parts of the country. And now we all know the biggest name to come from it is Sebastian Maniscalco, but we were all there roughing it out trying to make that $15. So I'm glad that I was part of all that. Paul Mooney, oh my God, Richard Pryor, I don't know how I was missing these names. Thank you so much for reminding me. Retha, and right now you see Mike Marino, Varsity Legend. Thank you, I appreciate that. That's from Brian Figueroa, who actually worked the door and parked cars. We all had so many great friends, and quite honestly, now a lot of them are gone. I remember I used to work with Marilyn Martinez, and she passed away, and Freddie Soto, he passed away. So many comedians that are no longer with us. Of course, Paul Mooney used to just sit there for hours, and you used to look at this guy because he's such a big star. He wrote for, who did he write for? Paul Mooney was the writer for Richard Pryor. Hope to see you in New Jersey. Sorry, I'll be in New Jersey. Just Freddie Soto, that's right. Boom, shakalaka. So many comedians. We lost my friend Fat James. Joe used to hang out with Sherry Shepherd and I. That's right. We used to see Sherry Shepherd all the time, and there was a time where I actually went to hear Mass with Sherry Shepherd. And I forgot why we went. There was a reason, but I think she wanted to turn me on to where she was going to her church. But Sherry Shepherd, one of the nicest people. Boy, I really wish everybody who's writing into the show right now could be here in my apartment talking about this. So Retha, I'm going to have you come on the show, which I would love. And you know how I respect, love, and honor you and your work. Especially when I saw you last time, I was at the Laugh Factory in Long Beach, and as soon as I saw you, I said to myself, I'm a shock. Retha Jones from stage. This has been an interesting podcast. I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Remember, please tune in to all my social media. Hit subscribe. Tell me what you thought of the show. Leave me a comment. Hit the little bell. I'm getting better at this stuff, and I hope you guys will help me out in growing my fan base. Pass the word around every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, live from my mother's basement. Of course, this isn't the basement, but it's a part of the basement, and I'm going to keep on doing it. Nice big shout out to my sponsor for tonight's show. Thank you so much, Diablo Moon, for staying in the game with us. Folks, if you're looking for some really gorgeous culinary craftware and some shirts, please go to diablomoon.shop. Nice big shout out to my producer, Tatiana Bluchel, for making all my shows possible. This one, live from my mother's basement, and also my variety show, the Not So Late Show. The next Not So Late Show is December 26th at 7 o'clock East Coast time. It's $4.95 to watch the show. I have a great comedian coming on the show. Her name is Michelle Trainer. She does a show called Divorce Diaries. And I have a singer on the show. Her name is Christy. She's brand new to what we're doing, and you're going to be really happy, surprised, and shocked what she's going to do on the show. That's coming up December 26th, the night after Christmas. Come on, you're all going to be laying around, just rolling your stomach after all the food that you had for the holiday. Check out the show. If there's 20 people at your house, put in the nickel. For $4.95, you get to see this variety show that we tape in the basement, okay? Everything is at MikeMarino.net, and of course, all social media at Mike Marino Live. Once again, thank you, sponsor Diablo Moon, diablomoon.shop. Tatiana Bluchel for making this all happen and producing all these shows. Remember, let's make America Italian again. You don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. And how do I end every single one of my broadcasts? By always saying the same thing. Don't take no shit from nobody. Good night. Hey folks, I hope you're enjoying watching my podcast live from my mother's basement. We're having a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a lot of great guests on the show in the future. So if you like it, hit like. You could also leave a comment. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch other funny videos. And you could also listen to my podcast on your favorite podcast app like Spotify and iTunes.